Which one is my brother? Is it A, Matthew, or B, Pod? Hands up for A, Matthew. Or is it B, Pod? Oh, you're wrong. It's obvious. Look, anyway, so, but we like to call him the Pod. So if you speak to a lady, it's called the Pod. Anyway, so I thought it'd be good to get to know these guys a little bit. We'll just have a quick few questions for them. So Matt is the lead singer and guitarist, and Pod is the lead guitarist. So nice to have you here. Hello. Thank you. That's Caruso, everybody! So I would like to know, as we all would like to know, when you're writing songs, when you're kind of preparing that, how's your approach to songwriting? I know a lot of songwriters have different approaches. What do you guys do?
Basically, my musical influences are not really singer-songwriter type bands, so I kind of grew up listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Jane's Addiction, and they're not typical bands that write complete songs and then teach them to the rest of the band. So I kind of tend to write little riffs, little bits of music, and take them.
You're quite riff-based then?
Yeah, I love riffs. I love bands like Rage Against the Machine, which do like awesome kind of riffs and stuff.
Let me play Killing in the Name later.
We won't. So I take my little riffs and my little bits of music and take them to Matt, and he tells me now and again when I've written a good one or one that he likes, and he starts humming over it and doing some lyrics and things. So that's me.
Cool.
Yeah, I've kind of written a few songs on my own, and they're nowhere near as interesting, to be honest, because I can't really play guitar, so they're kind of a bit sort of soppy, and I guess working with Pod, like, they'll come and just deliver a riff, and it's just brilliant. So I just kind of get a bit of a melody going, and together we just write adding some chords, maybe get some lyrics that make some sort of sense.
Cool. So you're the emotion and the romance, and you're the funk. Is that what we're saying?
I don't want to be.
That's where you are, but I want to be dark. Okay, so you guys write together as well? So I'm guessing you'll start.
We got a song tonight that we've written together. Like, just start off with a little. Actually, that one wasn't a riff, was it? It was just chords. That kind of threw me a little. But yeah, actually, we're a bit together.
Okay, so also you guys have a little bit of spiritual content in your songs as well. Just tell me a little bit about that. What's that?
Well, we're Christians, so it kind of really influences pretty much everything you do. So songwriting is a big part of that. It's kind of, I guess, the spiritual content is it's not really that spiritual, but it kind of, I guess it's a focus on with a godly worldview rather than just writing about any old thing. So yeah, the songs tonight aren't really that. The song we've written is about.
So I don't. My starting point isn't necessarily I'm a Christian and I write a song about God. I guess my starting point is I just want to write about my experiences or my observations. I mean, I don't really write lyrics or whatever. I might say to Matt, can we say something like this? And he'll find a really cool way of putting it. But the song that we've written tonight, it's more about the one that we wrote together was wanting to capture something of somebody's cry for help who's trapped in maybe a particular addiction or way of life that they know is not helpful or good, and they're kind of crying out for help whilst at the same time there's a contradiction going on because they're justifying their behaviour and justifying it as okay. And I don't know about you, but for me, I often find myself in my own life knowing that something's wrong but justifying it, telling myself that it's okay to do this or that or think this or that. And so the song is about, I guess it's a cry for help, it's about despair, so it's pretty dark.
It is dark, and I wanted to put a bit of hope at the end, but that was vetoed, so there's no hope in it, basically. We'll probably all leave quite depressed, so that's his fault. Because he is quite dark and depressing at his core.
Well, there is a funky riff in the middle of it, so that makes it alright.
That's good. Okay, so you guys, for obviously, you're Christians as well. You don't seem like kind of what a traditional kind of Christian might sort of appear.
Well, I shaved and put some shoes on, so I just tried to make a bit of an effort to normally big beard sounds.
Beard and sandals, right? Beard and sandals.
Pod's usually got some sort of like road, like sort of desert roads on. And it takes him a day to do it.
Excellent. I don't know.
I didn't really answer.
Why are we talking about it? Yeah. Okay. So. No. So you're
You've got a nice beard. Good. How long do that?
only a year. But, so Christians in a rock band. For those of you who aren't Christians and might have more of a traditional old-fashioned view of kind of Christians who might be sort of thinking rock band Christians doesn't really sort of fit. How does it fit? Obviously you don't partake in illicit sex and drugs, but how does it work? Unless you do, of course. I wish I've grossly misread the situation.
We thought we knew each other. I just think, you know, like we're not in a band to be anything specific. You know, we just love music and love writing with each other and sort of, pumping out a great riff is just it's such a feel-good thing. And if obviously we're going to be influenced by certain things, and faith's a big part of that, but it's not really, I guess
It's not contradictory then?
No, not really. I think a lot of bands that have Christians in, and more Christian bands get a lot of bad press for, whatever they do, various people aren't happy. Like if they're not Christian enough, then all Christians slag them off, and if they're too Christian, no one else is interested. And, at the end of the day, like we're just having a bit of fun, and our faith is part of it. It's not.
Okay, so you mentioned your faith. So just lastly and briefly,
Denied.
how did you become Christians, or why did you become a Christian?
I'll give you this.
I wasn't born in a Christian home. My parents are Sikh, and my family are all Sikh. And so I was brought up as a Sikh, going to the temple, to the Gurdwara. And when I was a bit younger, my parents kind of broke up and split up, and it was kind of, it was a difficult time. So for a long time, I didn't believe in any God at all, because I thought, how can a God of love allow suffering? But it was a friend of mine that was a Christian. I had Christian friends, and just the Christians I knew were just very, very patient with me, very loving to me as I was growing up, showed me, a lot of patience. And so to cut a long story short, I was just really taken by their lives and their generosity towards me. So a friend of mine offered to meet up and read the Bible with me, just from the Gospels, which is an account of Jesus' life. And I was just really, really taken back by the beauty of Christ, just the attractiveness, the goodness, and the generosity of Jesus Christ in the Gospels. And I just thought, I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know if did he really live? Did he really die? Did he really come back from the dead? But I just thought, I really want that to be true, because here we have, God in flesh, who really understands the human condition and has nothing but generosity and goodness, and so I just really wanted it to be true. So I started reading books about, how can a God of love, allow suffering, and did Jesus really raise from the dead? And I found some answers there. And so that was the start of a long journey, in which I was fully persuaded and convinced that Jesus really did live, he really did die, and he really did raise from the dead.
Yeah, my story's weirdly exactly the same. Sikh, temple.
Thoughts?
Yeah. Don't you remember, obviously? I remember. It was a weird childhood.
Thank you. Right, good. So that's Carusi, ladies and gentlemen. They'll be with us in just a few minutes doing a gig. So stick around. It's going to be quality. We listened to them in rehearsal. They really are good. So
Thanks.
Matt and Pod, let's have a round of applause. So just take a few minutes. We'll start with a coffee. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.